Hello, hello, and welcome to the Magic is in You podcast, episode number 22, the podcast designed to empower you to tune and tap in and turn on the magic with inside of you. My name is Kelsey Holmes. I am so grateful you are here today. I am so excited because we have a powerful interview with a badass magical woman, Nancy Martins, who is going to share so much goodness about her journey of going from the corporate 9 to 5, working for the city for over 15 years, into actually creating what she truly desired in her life, getting like really, truly real with herself so that she could create what she actually desired in this life. Before we dive into the podcast, I wanted to let you know that there is an exciting and fun new moon workshop that I'm going to be hosting on Zoom on the 29th. It'll be the spring new moon, and I'm so excited. It is a free workshop. If you would like to join us, hop on the email list. That's where I share all of the details for free workshops, special events, all of the fun things going on. Hop on the email list, and so that you can stay in touch with what is happening at The Magic is in You and Elevate You. And I'm so excited to introduce you today to Nancy. Nancy is a business mentor and embodiment coach, helping high achieving women step into wealth, visibility, and leadership without the hustle. As the founder of the Expansion Mentorship and the Revolution, she guides women to break through limiting beliefs, optimize their energy, and build a business that feels as good as it looks. After leaving behind a life that drained her to move to Costa Rica, Nancy built a soul-led business rooted in feminine embodiment, somatics, wealth expansion, helping other women do the same. Her approach blends nervous system regulation, identity recalibration, and high ticket business strategy so women can create 10K plus months on repeat while leading with devotion, not pressure. Nancy is a Bufo guide for those seeking a true identity shift and recalibration to their highest timeline through psychedelics and her unique method of integration. She helps clients shed old narratives and embody their most expanded, liberated selves. Hello, hello, and welcome to the Magic is in You podcast. I am so excited and happy to introduce Nancy to you today. And we are going to learn all about her magic, her light, and what she has created in her life in this world, and how she has utilized her badassery and like owning her badassery to intentionally create a life that lights her the fuck up from the inside out. So, welcome, Nancy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelsey, for inviting me on. And I'm just so excited. The moment I feel like we connected, it was like this instant connection. And I just love when that happens and you just feel like, oh my gosh, this woman, like with your artistry and, all your Airbnb and your or your transformational coaching. It's like, I love when women are just really so multifaceted, so passionate with everything they're bringing to the world. So thank you so much for having me on here and for giving me the privilege to deepen this conversation with you.
Of course. Yes, I'm so excited to get to connect today because like you mentioned, we met in a coaching container and we connected, and like you said, I also felt like that instant connection where we just like jived, and like I could feel your energy, I could feel your heart, and I'm so excited to be able to connect more today and like get to know you a little bit better. So Nancy, can you like let people know what is your magic in this world? You started your business about 4 years ago, and you have created so much in your business and also in your family in the last few years too, right?
Yes, yeah. So it's been quite the journey. It's interesting because I feel like, well, I always kind of dabbled in business before my son was born, and I kind of did the opposite of what you would think, because a lot of people think that, when you are a mother, that it's like this big time consuming thing, and that, I don't know, there's a lot of stories out there that, like, oh my god, your life is over and you have no time. But for me, it was like the biggest anchoring into my vision, into who I want to become as a woman, into like expanding my business and going full in it, because I felt like I needed to be this role model for him, and this human who not only like not only talked about what, go after your dreams and and live with your unapologetic desires and be your unique authentic self, but actually live that from a place of truth, from a place of like, I'm actually going to do this. So yeah, for well, I going back to when I first started my entrepreneurship journey, I started a little space called the Refinery. It was this little heart centered space. It was beautiful. I have an events background. I was working for the city and I really wanted to like bring community together and have women and men come in and teach what they're passionate about. So I created this beautiful little space, but I created it like right before COVID happened. So so that it started off as amazing and then didn't quite like go as planned, as you know, sometimes things happen that way. And then I found out I was pregnant. So and then I had this beautiful baby boy. You know, I went on maternity leave with the city. I was working for the city for, you know, like 15 years, like very, like I had a pension. I was, you know, very in my corporate position, climbing the ladder. And I just knew that it wasn't for me for a very long time. And yeah, I think that there were things that happened to me before motherhood that kind of pushed me in the direction of sort of dabbling into like entrepreneurship, but it was really motherhood that like catapulted me into, okay, no, we're leaving. So when Xavier was about a year old, we took off to Costa Rica. I studied somatics. I was a part-time meditation teacher while I was still working. So um, and then I really started to realize like, you know what, it's not just the mind, it's not just like the mind, it's the body. So really got into somatic work, started putting on like ecstatic dances and transformational spaces for people in Costa Rica and hosting events there. And then I really got into the space of coaching and like really loving to work one on one with people. um, I I I loved the idea of transformation in like the somatic healing world, but for me, I wanted to more work with it because I was working a lot of with people that were going through trauma and healing that. And for me, it got to a point where I wanted to expand. So fast forward, you know, a few years later, I got really into business coaching because I had met a mentor who really expanded my capacity to like hold more as an entrepreneur and become this like, well, this person who really embodied wealth in my nervous system and like expanded me. And it wasn't like your traditional like bro marketing. It was like heart-led sales and feminine sales. So became obsessed, got so into this world, and then really started helping other women like pour into their own business and help them not only through the lens of like the strategy and the marketing and all that sort of stuff, but really shifting their identity, their belief systems, and all of the work that I had previously done with like clients when I was doing the somatic work. So that is a very long long story of like what how this came to be. But now I, you know, and I didn't even go into the plant medicine part, but as you can tell, I'm multi-fat, you know, like I love so many different types of my modalities. But yeah, and then I before actually I came back to from Costa Rica, I embarked on like facilitating plant medicine journeys while I was in the somatic um coaching experience because I was helping a friend do integration work after, and then was absolutely terrified of like actually trying the medicine, but had done like a lot of work with, you know, identity and beliefs and somatic work. So she wanted me to integrate, to like help people integrate. And then one brave day I was like, no, you know what, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to actually like surrender and trust and go into this plant medicine journey. And it was like literally the biggest shift in my life because not only did I like, I feel like unlayer so much ancestral patterns that had been woven into me, but I had, you know, truly forgiven my mom and like had this space of like compassion and love for her for the very first time in like my entire life. So like 35 years at the time. So that's when I became, you know, when I became a facilitator and helped through plant medicine journeys, people really transform and let go of, you know, maybe past things that have been holding them back and shift into this identity that they want to embody to live and lead like a limitless life. through their desires. I think a lot of plant medicine work is really surrounded around, releasing traumas. And for me, I really love to work with humans who really just want to expand their awareness, like shed the ego, shed the identities that have been keeping them stuck, and like really push them forward. And I feel like entrepreneurship and business and that pair so well together. And I have never quite seen it done in the lens that I'm providing it. So
Oh, that's incredible. Oh my God. And I really enjoyed that you share all of these facets of your journey, because it's not just like one day this happened, right? It's all of
yeah.
these tiny moments in life that like lead us to where we are today, right? It's like this moment, and then this moment, and then this layer, and then this realization in this tiny little moment that all lead us to where we are today. And then also being able to integrate so many tools. So many people like are like, oh, this one thing is like the golden thing. But really, I personally love, this is where part of what I was so connected with you about, is because you utilize so many different tools and facets and different parts that all integrate into one like greater adventure of getting to know ourselves, love ourselves, expand ourselves at a deeper level. Because that's been my
Mm.
personal journey too, is like utilizing all of these different tools, all of these different resources within myself, within challenges, within adventures, within body work, within mindset, subconscious work,
Mhm.
diving in all of these layers so that we can explore ourselves. Because like at the end of the day, that like we're here to explore ourselves, we're here to explore
Mhm.
our life, we're here to like live on purpose, a life that lights us the fuck up from the inside out. And that like
Totally.
and I love that you've got all of these tools so that that your clients and the women that you work with and the people that you work with can shed those old layers so that they can like allow themselves to grow into their fullest self, their fullest potential.
Totally. And I think, so I grew up in a very religious home, very humble home. And it took me quite some time to like unlayer the shame around my desires. And, that's why I love that you just said, we came here to explore different parts of ourselves, explore like our desires, what we want to receive in this world. And, the me from before motherhood or even like 10 years ago is so different. And then and giving yourself permission to expand your desires and to play with life and live in that pleasure zone where it's like everything gets to just be good and fun. And like, and even the parts that are like shitty and that don't, aren't the greatest, like how can we bring so much aliveness to that? Like, I know like my mom passed in June, and it was the most like walking with her through her last, couple months of life was the most magical yet heartbreaking and beautiful experience I've ever walked myself through, right? And and yes, it was like this deep grief and sadness, but it was just like that can be so beautiful as well if we allow it to.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's not that it's all just like rainbows and butterflies and sunshine, right? Like it's the duality of life. Like you can't have the rainbow without the storm and the rain. Like nothing
Totally.
grows without the water, nothing grows without the storm. Like the fires that clear the forest allow actually trees to plant new seeds. Literally
Yeah.
some trees need fire to be able to actually germinate the seeds that will grow for the future forests. Like this
Yeah.
destruction is also, and the grief is also what makes life so beautiful and worth
Oh,
living.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And I love that you said duality, because it is. It's like everything is duality. Like, how can you play in the duality? Like, I know that I talked about this with a lot of my clients that I was working with at the time when I was going through this, but like I had this very dualistic experience, because I had in one breath my son who's 4, and he's like full of joy and presence, and he's just starting his life. Then had my mother who was like, at the end of her life, like frail and just, like very, and it's like to experience both of those in the exact same time without letting the other like bleed into each other and like overrun, like, oh, like I remember having this thought like, oh, I can't come like I'm sad, like I can't come home and appreciate my son. It's almost like I felt guilt for appreciating or being present and laughing and having that these moments with my son. And then I realized like, no, like these two things get to exist in the very same breath. And I think when we allow ourselves to do that with everything in life, like, and especially in business, like it's like there can be so much duality in business, and the more that you can play with both of that, like it just makes the journey so much more yummier and so much more beautiful and like, yeah, just better.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, being able to be present with both the
Mhm.
hard stuff and the beautiful stuff, and knowing that we can actually be grateful for both too, because even the hard stuff, like the hard stuff means we're here and alive and experiencing this human experience that we have been gifted. Even though it's shitty and hard and challenging, and like even though we're in deep grief, we can still be grateful for the experience of having something to grieve, right? Like,
Exactly. Hmm.
um, yeah, absolutely. And so as you navigate this, and like I love how you also, backing it up to what you also said at the beginning, you, when you became pregnant and had your son, it kind of lit a fire under you to actually be like, wait, what am I doing? Like, what am I going to
Hmm.
tell my son? If I'm going to tell him he can do anything, be anything, create anything he wants in his life, like I should probably be the example for that. And I just like
Totally.
fucking love that you had the awareness and the realization that like it starts with you. It's not just you telling your son that he can do it, but it's you showing your son that he can do it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like and it was this, it was this fire inside of me for a very long time. I knew that I always wanted, like, I started in personal development and loving, like, learning and everything since I was 15 years old. Like, I would, like, binge Wayne Dyer books and, like, Lewis Hay and, like, all the spiritual Abraham Hicks and all these, like, beautiful spiritual teachers. And I'd go to these, like, my friends were like, what are you doing? Like, but like I had this obsession with growth and with like becoming, I guess, like becoming like, well, you're always whole. And that's what I realized at that time. I think when I was younger, I was like searching for like the answer. And I think like as years have come and as I have become wiser and wiser, it's like, no, you're already like, you get to love all parts of yourself and you're already here and whole and
Mm.
beautiful. But like with my son, it was like, yeah, like I didn't want him to think, well, it was this moment actually that he was in my arms, and you know how crazy COVID was. It was just like everyone was like in lockdown, people were wearing masks outside. He's not even able to see people smile, like he's not even able to see facial expressions. And I had this moment of awareness, like, whoa, like I don't want him to like grow up in this world like this right now. And like, and then it's like, oh yeah, like what do I really want for myself? And I remember getting taken back to this moment when I was traveling. It was um me and my man have been together for 17 years, but we had this hiatus for 4. We got back together. So let's say we can save that for another episode. but 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 we had this hiatus, and in that hiatus where we went together, I went traveling and I seen this family, and they were traveling and they were backpacking. They weren't like traveling like luxury traveling. They're like backpacking, like, going to the beach with their baby. Like the baby had like dreadlocks, or just they just looked like they were just so present and having the best time ever. And I remember in that moment, I was like, that's going to be like me one day. And so this memory like flooded into my like awareness. Is like, this is what we're doing. So we literally like within like a month, I was like, Jared, we need to leave. Like, and he's like, he's amazing. He's like so on board. He's like, okay. He's like, okay. And then we like literally put our house to rent. It was so downstream. It got a renter within a week. We packed all of our stuff. We sold so much stuff. We didn't even know if we were coming back. We just embarked on this journey and we had no idea like what we were doing. We quit our jobs. Like it was so intense. But from that moment, it was like, I'm all in this. Like, I didn't even know exactly what I wanted to teach because at that point, I had dabbled in somatic training. And then I was like, teaching meditation. I had an events background. And like I said, I had opened up this space, which had like totally failed because of COVID. But it was like this catalyst of like, we're going to make it work. And I think with that energy and like with this, like coupled with this dream that I had when I was, traveling, backpacking alone, seeing this family, it like lit this like fire and this passion. And from this energy in this space is like just created so much opportunity, like working for different types of communities, meeting the best people. It was just like this downstream thing. Like looking back at it, I was like, holy shit, that's like pretty insane.
But it sounded like it was like, insane from perhaps like the logical, like
Yeah.
mind looking out or like looking in from the outside.
Yeah.
But when you're in that kind of momentum and that downstream flow, like you were
Yeah.
describing, and like following your intuition and following your gut and following this vision, this dream, this knowing that you had within inside of yourself of like this life of freedom, of ease, of flow, of connection is what I truly desire and crave for not just myself, but for my child. And having that
Yeah.
moment of recognizing that you wanted something different in your life and then like fucking took action and did something about it. And in a big way,
Totally.
it sounds
In a
like.
big way.
Is this when you moved to Costa Rica?
Yeah, so we were there. We were living between Costa Rica and Nicaragua. And yeah, like it was the most expansive, beautiful journey. I mean, like it had its ups and downs. There's moments where we're like, okay, so what are we gonna do for work? Like what's happening? And then but it was this, okay, well now we get creative. Now we double
Mm-hmm.
down. Like we double down on, well, what do I desire to do? Well, I want to lead these, at the time I wanted to lead these beautiful, because I had an event experience backed with like my meditation and a little bit of somatic work. And I wanted to lead these beautiful like retreats where people could come back home to their body and like, experience something that really truly shifted them. So there was like, there was, kind of a blend of like mindset work and somatics and kind of this like luxurious vibe, like you're just like taken care of when you come in the space. Is like overlooking the ocean and all of this stuff. And then there was an ecstatic dance compound. So if for those of you that don't know what ecstatic dance is, it's just basically like moving your body and dancing to the rhythm of your soul, other than caring what anyone has to say or to like you don't care about judgment or anything. And it's really getting into the movement of how you're feeling and how you're wanting to release energy. And like I was obsessed with this, and I've actually hosted one since I came back to Canada as well here. But yeah, and then it just kind of started to, it was like, okay, cool, this is like, flowing and amazing, right? But it was interesting because, as soon as my like, well, fast forward, I met this amazing woman, Trina, who introduced me to this plant medicine work. She had been doing it. She was an ex-pharmacist and she had been doing it for like 15 years. So I deeply trusted her because she had this like scientific pharmaceutical background. So she actually called herself the Dharmacist because she
I love
went,
that.
yeah. So she went from a pharmacist, like, but she's seen kind of the negative aspects of the medical world and how it's kind of just like a band-aid that you throw on, your
Mm-hmm.
your stuff. Um, to then embarking on this like huge exploration of self through plant medicine. So her mission was to lead these to lead these experiences and journeys for people, and to help really people come home to themselves. And after meeting her and after like going through all this, is like, oh my gosh, like this is the way. Like there's so much here that I unraveled for myself. So really started, practicing with her and learning from her. And then yeah, that was really downstream as well because there was just people. I didn't even really advertise it for the first 2 years. I was just like, I kind of do this. I kind of, like facilitated some experiences for my friends who deeply wanted to go through it, and then it was like this word of mouth thing, and now I'm a little bit more speaking about it online and through my Instagram channel, like sprinkling it in, because I do feel like the medicine will find you. Like you don't seek people to find the medicine, like the medicine find the people who like want it.
Mm-hmm.
But to like bring this in a different lens, I feel like to people who like are already like, they've already figured some things out. They're doing pretty good in their life, and they want to really expand that self-awareness and that identity and go deep into their why. And like, I think for business, like for me, it's like I don't just work with like, okay, I just want to make money. Just want this business that automatically runs in the background. Like that's not the type of mentor I am. It's like, no, what is like your heart-led passion? Like what are you here to transform? Like who are you here to help? And there's this actual story usually with my clients that I work with of their deep why that usually stem from either like a painful experience or just like this deeper knowing that they want to change humanity in this way. And I feel like Bufo and like just some of the integration work that I've done with that really helps like get that brand and get that the messaging and all of that stuff in such an authentic, truthful way.
Yes. Oh, and it sounds like because you've done the same work for yourself too, right? Not just your
Yeah.
clients, but allowed
Yeah.
yourself to like utilize the plant medicine so that you could attach and like connect to this deep rooted why. What was that experience like for yourself? You like mentioned, obviously, you've gone through this experience yourself and now you've been facilitating this. What was like that
Yeah.
initial experience as you started exploring into plant medicine, and how did that really impact your business and the way you like saw and functioned in your business and create your business?
So it's so interesting because yeah, before it was just like playing business, not playing business,
Mm-hmm.
but we were in Costa Rica. It was very like I don't want to say
Pura
not
vida
serious.
vibes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was. It's totally like that.
Yeah,
It was like I wake
totally.
up, I go get my coconut. Like it's just like we live on like nothing. Like, it was so chill, like so
Yeah.
chill, which was so amazing. Right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Like, but then it was interesting because like when I went through this plant medicine journey, what it uncovered for me, the biggest thing it uncovered for me was that I held on to this story. And this is, I think, why I wanted to shift from working with humans who are still deeply, and everyone has their space and has, their what's the right word, like their experience. And I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just depending where you are along the journey. And it's just I don't want to make people wrong for being in like this like a different space, like a
Mm-hmm.
traumatic space or a space of like, okay, I'm still like working on this. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, what I seen in that Bufo journey was like, oh my god, everything is a story. So the biggest thing was that the first time that I embarked on the journey of the medicine, it really showed me like the pain and the struggle of my mother and how I had felt so unsupported. And this was through this like deep lineage, ancestral link of like carrying so much weight and carrying like like that warrior vibe. Like I'm gonna get
Mm-hmm.
shit done and I'm gonna like be the boss and like I'm gonna like hold everyone, but I forget about myself. So I seen her through this like I don't know even how to describe it because Bufo has a way of like it's such an energetic experience that sometimes when you attach words to it, it loses its meaning. But the best way to describe it was like I felt so much compassion for her because I felt what she had gone through. And it wasn't from like a victim, like, oh my God, I feel sorry for her. It was like from this, I love you so much. I care about you so much. And you are beautiful and amazing. And I seen all of her good qualities that I seen before, but it was like painted this different lens, like how her devotion to us made me feel so safe, how her like unwavering love, like although sometimes um in my eyes was overbearing, was like, oh my god, like it was just coming from this loving space. And that she had lived with a lot of fear. She had lived with a lot of fear that from her own childhood. And yeah, like it allowed me to get into this compassionate state, literally feel so much love like I've never felt for her in my entire life, because we were she had me when she was 42. She was from Portugal. We had generations apart and also like this cultural differences as well because I grew up here. So I felt very like we never like really connected on this deep level. And for the first time in my life, I felt so connected to
Oh,
this. Felt like it was like, oh my God, this is my mom. Like it's like, and from that, I was like, holy, like this is this is like beautiful. And I don't think my understanding of why I do the work came into like a year after. But for me, it was like, I want women to know, like, it's like you can live with so much devotion to your children, like live so intentionally and coming from this place of love, and you can live your most wildest dreams, have the most successful business. You don't have to struggle for wealth. You can live in this place of ease and from your very existence, like bring in money and opportunities and flow and ease, and doesn't have to be such a struggle. And it was birthed from that experience of like seeing, oh my gosh, there's so much weight here. And then it was my integration, which I believe is my, like, people can do plant medicine journeys, but it's not until you truly integrate. And that's where I come in. And the work that I'm really obsessed with is when you integrate that and you make meaning from it and you actually create shifts and have someone to, hold you accountable to create this identity shift in your life. That's
mhm.
when true transformation can begin. So yeah, it was, that really like solidified like what I was here to create and why I had this, like, because I always had this deep desire to help people and to also like unshame my desires. I lived, like I told you, in this very humble home. And even when we were in Costa Rica, there was, we lived in certain places, and they would kind of post judgment on you, like, oh, you don't have compost toilet. Like I agree with everybody's point of views, and I also agree with everyone's experience of life and the different ways people want to live. And I feel like the reason some of these comments would hit home for me is like I can still be spiritual, have money, and still have this like deep desire to help people, and none of it is wrong. Like I can be everything. I don't have to
Yes.
fit into this box. So
Mhm.
yeah, that was really the biggest thing. And that, like, our stories, we don't have to. So the second experience that I received with Bufo was really this unshattering of stories. Like I went back to when I was little, and it's like, no, I didn't live in a traumatic home. I actually lived in a home full of passion. It was full of sadness and love and anger, and everything was expressed. And maybe that's why I have
Mhm.
so much love for expression, and that I love to see people's true, authentic, voice in every way that they want to express it. It doesn't have to always be, like you said, like love, light, and rainbows. It's just like, what is the truth? What is the truth?
Mhm.
And it's like it allowed me to see that, like, my whole experience, it was truth. I mean, some things, yeah, like, were they right, were they wrong? Like, I mean, in the expression of the moment, like, people, I believe, were just doing the best that they knew, right? So it really allowed me to embody that. Like I kind of knew that from like an intellectual perspective, but I didn't feel that in my body. And I think that was the biggest shift, and what I want to help people with.
Oh, is having those big shifts and that embodiment and those
Hmm.
realizations and being able
Yeah.
to like see things from a different perspective, like being able to look at your mom with so much compassion and
Hmm.
appreciation for who she is and her experience and your experience with her. Like, even though there was duality and still is duality in the experience, being able to have love and compassion for all of it because it is the truth. Like you
Absolutely.
said, like it doesn't have to be in one light, it can be all truth.
Absolutely. I
Oh
love
my
that.
gosh. Yeah. Oh, and being able to, I think that plant medicine is so interesting. I've never actually sat in ceremony specifically, dabbled in some other recreational adventures, but it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
very
That's
different.
awesome. Totally.
That's a lie. I suppose I did sit in ceremony once in Hawaii at a retreat, and it was a very interesting, different experience. But the integration part that you're talking about, I think, is not just for plant medicine, but any sort of
Everything.
transformational work. I feel like, yeah, everything. I feel like there's an integration period post retreats, workshops, even whether it's ecstatic dance, any sort of something like that. There's an integration period, whether or just taking that intentional integration time, whether that's like 5 minutes where you allow yourself to journal after an experience, like after a yoga class or after an experience like that, but being able to, like, what's your process of integration work with your clients through plant medicine? Because this is a big experience typically for people. Like, it's an experience that they have a lot of times haven't done, or they have nerves around, or they're anxious around, or they've had past experiences that were like not ceremonial. How do you help your clients integrate, and how do you do this
Yes.
for yourself?
Yeah, yeah. So integration is my favorite thing because, like you said, without like you can go to any experience, you can go to a live event. That's it. Like I feel like there's so, like everything's a plant medicine journey. like it's
Totally.
like go to a live event, go to a retreat, go to your family dinner, and like like get close to like the people that trigger you the most, and then like figure out like what's happening after. So like everything, I feel like you can make meaning out of everything. And if you treat life this way, if you see that there's golden nuggets, there's moments to expand your awareness, to grow, then life becomes your integration. And
Mm.
for plant medicine in specific, well, I think that the preparation beforehand is very crucial. So I think that just picking somebody who you just have a natural connection with, that you feel safe with, that you feel that is someone who, I don't even want to say gets you, like is just, you're on a vibe, like it just, you get it, like there is something, there's a connection. And that facilitator should really create a safe space. Like for me, what I do is I really explain the whole process. I make sure that all questions are answered. I make sure that they really set this intention that this is like not just this one time psychedelic experience for fun, which sometimes it can be. I mean, like, I try not to judge why my clients want to do the experience, but I do want to say that, like, for the most part, where my obsession lays and where I love to do the work is, yeah, like when they're coming for an intention, they want to release some old belief patterns, they want to identity shift, and I get them to anchor into that. So there's a lot of like pre-work that happens, and prepping the body and getting ready for that, and cleansing, and a lot of energetic work that we embark on. And then post is just, I usually send them, like, I have a, I don't like to call it a workbook because that sounds so boring, but it's like, but it is. It's a workbook.
Sure.
Yeah, but
Sometimes
it's,
it's easy to just call things the simple names.
yeah, I'm like, what am I going to call this? It's really just a workbook, but it's like a series of questions that I've personally felt very um are very conducive to the experience, because I feel like I'm the facilitator, but the person that is going on the journey, like they are the expert in their life, and they are their savior. They are their number one, you know, human who is going to allow them to grow, to gain the capacity to identity shift. So a lot of the questions, it's a lot of internal questioning, and so it's very unique and specific to the individual. And it's like I facilitate the correct guidance and questions based on their answers to specific questions that I've like really frameworked. And then from that, yeah, there's a lot of body work. So somatics, because Bufo is so energetic, it is not from the mind. You don't hallucinate. It's a very energetic feeling that you create. That's why I feel like it is the most powerful psychedelic to actually shift you into the direction that you desire to go. Like people have used it for addictions, for healing. Like my one friend, she cured her OCD. Another friend like stopped taking sleeping pills. Like there's a lot of benefits in how you perceive your reality, and how you can actually like take away, let's say, like pacifiers or things, and like step into a different type of reality.
Mhm.
And so it depends on what we're working with things like that. There's a lot more body experiencing and things like that. And then with business, like I've done a lot of clients where it's for the expansion of their business. And with that, it's like they're quite different. And with that, there's a lot of identity work, there's a lot of recalibration, there's a lot of like movement and dance work, and just creating a unique framework so they can consistently stay on track and optimize their energy and stay in this state, and also cultivate rituals that brings them back to this state of
Mhm.
expansion and identity that actually gets to them to where they desire to go. So it's very, very unique, but it's also, yeah, it's I guess if I wanted to like say the key things is like the somatic work, devotion to a ritual and practice to anchor in what you've experienced, and then the accountability, right? Like having someone who you're accountable to continue the process, because I feel like without that accountability, sometimes it's easy to just like fall off track. At least for
Mhm.
me, that's why I always have a mentor, because I'm like, okay, keep me on track. Like I'm in the vibe. You're inspiring me. I'm always plugging in. Like that's why I feel like mentorship is just such a beautiful way to expand us.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I think mentorship and having that accountability, um, and paying mentors and investing in ourselves so that we can also hold ourselves accountable, because that
Mm-hmm.
investment into the mentorship allows us and empowers us to hold ourselves accountable as well,
Totally.
is so crucial, because you can do the ceremony, you can do the rituals, you can do the plant medicine, but if you don't hold yourself accountable to follow through, to continue to integrate, because it's not just like, oh, I integrated for like for 2 days after the ceremony and now I'm done. Like this is something that's like continual integration. I mean, there's like oftentimes I feel like you look back at some of these experiences and years later you're finding new insights, new awarenesses from that same experience, in a different way, if you allow yourself to continue to integrate and to continue to grow yourself in that accountability. I'm
Oh,
really
absolutely.
I'm really
Yeah.
curious too, what style of somatic work are you doing with your clients? Because somatic work is so broad. I'm so curious as to, like I feel like you can dive into somatics and it goes in so many different directions. So
Totally.
I'm really curious, what kind of somatic work are you working with your clients with and with yourself?
Yeah, so I do a lot of breath work. I'm obsessed with breath work. I don't
Oh,
even like breath work is just something that I feel I practice every single day religiously, at least commit to 5 minutes. Cause I feel
yeah.
like when you set like a crazy goal, like I'm going to do an hour of meditation a day, you're like, I will never like do this in my life. Like I will never commit to this in long term. So I set like, you got to set yourself up for success. So I do 5 minutes a day. That's what I recommend. Right. And like, it's a game changer. So
Mhm.
I do that, and then I also do a lot of emotional release through dance, because
Mhm.
with my ecstatic dance background, and like just I feel like there's a lot of energy that like lives in the body. So being able to, it's actually a skill, because like I sometimes forget. I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this for a while, but when someone's new to it, it's like you're really in your head, right? Like you're like, okay, like how do I like move? Or like, oh, like you have some past judgments or story around movement or your sexuality or different like ways that you shouldn't move, and so it's really exploring the edges of movement, exploring the edges of dance, and I do a lot of like rage ceremonies, which like really just entail like releasing like anger through dance in the body. I also do a lot of like sexuality, sensuality dancing to just like evoke this um self-awareness and worthiness in the womb and in like our femininity. Because for me personally, I know like I mean, I grew up with two brothers who were always like, Nancy, your looks aren't going to get you anywhere. Like, you got to study, like, like, just like, and they meant it very, like, well. but, it's just, there was so much programming around, like, don't do that because, like, good girls do this. And it's like, that programming is so heavy. So to really, like, get out of your mind and into your body is such a act of devotion to yourself and to like the love for yourself. And some people don't even realize in the beginning how disconnected they are from their body because they're always like either they have like work where they're always in their mind, logical thinking. I think most of society actually operates from this. But when they take a minute to like do the dance part and get into their body, and we do breath work usually before to relax the nervous system and to get into that zone, they realize, oh my God, like they become obsessed. They're like, I'm going to do this all the time because we live in a society that's so, heavy focused on logic and strategy and in the head.
Oh my gosh, I'm like nodding vigorously the whole time you're talking
Yeah.
because, like 1,000%, I think the vast majority of people on this planet are very disconnected from their body, and
Mm-hmm.
for oftentimes good reason. Like there was at some point where it wasn't safe for you to be in your body, and you have this brilliant mind that disassociated at some point so that you could feel
Totally.
safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's this safety and protection mechanism and that we get to be super fucking grateful for because it got us through something really challenging or really hard, but we don't have to live there. Like we can, when we can actually integrate and come into these spaces such as ecstatic dance like you host and lead, and different other modalities, somatic modalities that allow us to safely come back to our body, to safely be in our body, to safely be present in our body, to feel safe to even like touch our body, for example, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, I just love it so much as a former massage therapist and as a yoga instructor and somatic practitioner. I think that the body is the gateway for everything, is the gateway
Yeah.
for so much expansion. And I think it's completely underrated still. I mean, there's more awareness now than I think there ever has been, but I still feel like there's so much, like all of our wisdom is in our body. And in the
Mm.
fascial system and in the energy of our body, in our being. And I just really like love how you were talking also about bringing in the safety and also kind of a challenge to like experience your femininity and your sexuality and the way you move and the way you
Yeah.
inhabit your body through a static dance, but also allowing yourself to come back and calm the nervous system before you do something that could feel uncomfortable and scary so that you can feel that safety in your nervous system.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that was that was a deep modality too that I practiced and learned when we were living in Nicaragua. There was a guy there, a very successful guy, who was teaching all of these courses on nervous system regulation, and I became obsessed because, well, having a little I realized very quickly how dysregulated my nervous system was when I had like a baby who was crying, and I was like, "Oh my God, why do I feel so panicked? Like, why can't I like handle this?" there's all these things happening in my body. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And so I love that you brought up like nervous system regulation. I think is a big piece to feel safety. And like I don't even want to call it safety because it's like, well, it is safety, but safety, and then like and then how do we expand our capacity for safety, like to what
Yeah.
feels safe? Because I
Mm-hmm.
know for me, like when I was younger, like I lived in a home that was like really loud and very like, so for me, like when Xavier would drop something, I'd be like I have this like actual visceral like physical response to it, or a jump, or I'd be like, like have these gasps, and like it just escaped me. I didn't even have this awareness of that, and learning about the nervous system and how these things are, you know, I don't want to say but like I guess trapped within your body, and there's these imprints inside of you. Growing your capacity for, let's say, in your business, like you need to really cultivate safety and feel pressure and all of these different things in a new way to actually feel safe within them. And if you grew up in a place or in a, like a an environment where you felt like you had to protect yourself, and going through all of the, like, the fawn, the fight, the flight, there's so many different states that we get into in order for protection. But like it can be difficult and challenging to expand your nervous system to actually receive more and to be under pressure. So that's like a lot of the work that I also do. And like that's like I think like the biggest thing that is not spoken about, because a lot of people focus on the strategy, and strategy is great. Like I feel like you need a great strategy because you can't just like throw things out there with like nothing, and then it's like, because I did that for a couple of years and it didn't work.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah, yeah,
I get it.
yeah. I did that for a little while. I was like, I'm like, I'm just gonna express myself and everyone's gonna come to me. It's like, no, like you need to have a like you need to have a framework, the masculine framework, and then inside of that your feminine essence can flourish, and you can like express yourself and be the authentic version of you. But there needs to be a framework. But with your nervous system, I feel like there does need, like, people don't realize how much it is about expanding your capacity to deal with things, right? And that it all lives within your nervous system.
Oh my God, totally. Well, and I think that's part of the reason why I love movement practices and body
Yeah.
practices. Like I've been teaching yoga for, I guess, since 2017 now. But
Wow.
yoga is one of my, it's something that I fell in love with as a massage therapist. Well, I've had a long history, but I really started to fall in love with it when I was a massage therapist, when I was feeling like garbage in my body, feeling like garbage,
Mm-hmm.
even though I like loved what I was doing, I like felt like garbage on the inside. And so I started
Mm-hmm.
practicing yoga, and yoga still always challenges me every single day. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
challenging myself intentionally on the mat. I'm pushing myself outside of my comfort zone intentionally on the mat in my body, because I know that that is expanding my capacity. It's expanding my nervous system. It's expanding my resilience, not just for the stuff that I'm doing on the mat, but for everything I'm doing in my life. Breath work, same way. Often, depending upon the style of breath work, I suppose, that you're practicing, oftentimes it can get fucking uncomfortable. Some of those like minute and a half, 2 minute long holds are like horrendously uncomfortable and terrifying initially. And like the more you practice it, the more resilience you build, the easier it gets, the stronger your nervous system gets. And all of a sudden, like when you're in this stressful situation out in your business or out in your life, in whatever it is, you recognize you're acting differently. You're responding to these what were very stressful situations in the past. You're responding to them differently, and it's because of the work that you're putting in daily in your body and your mind, and like intentionally expanding your nervous system, and building and growing that resilience intentionally, like putting your nervous system under stress intentionally in a safe way, so that when
Yeah.
it's outside of your control, you can feel strong and safe in your nervous system to take aligned, or like the action that needs to be taken, whatever that is.
Oh, I love that you said that. Yoga. Oh, like you're 1,000% right. Like yoga, like everything you said. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Like I love yoga. I like even just like working out. Like I kind of go between working out and yoga. Like I practice both, and religiously every day, even if it's, again, I have my 10-minute commitment every day
Mm-hmm.
for 10 minutes, no matter what. And then most I do an hour, like 3 times a week. But um like it's just it's so amazing when you can push your body and like you said, have that spacious and that awareness. Because I remember when I first started working out, I was like, the minute I would start like breathing heavy, I'd be like, I'm quitting. And then, and then and then I realized, I'm like, wait a second, this isn't just like me on the mat. This is like me in life. Like I start getting under pressure, and then I just stop and I hide and I avoid, and all these things come up, and then I like quit. Like it's like, holy shit, Nancy, like you cannot handle pressure. And it was this awareness that actually completely shifted my business and completely shifted my life, because I realized how much I was avoiding shit.
Oh my gosh. Like I'm over here like mind blowing,
Yeah.
like those kind of realizations of like recognizing like, oh, I'm out of breath. I'm kind of sweaty. Like I want to quit. And then being like, Oh, fuck. I do this everywhere in my life because the way we do one thing is the way we do most things, right? And like
Totally.
having that realization in your movement practice. And then I imagine that that shifted some shit in your business too, huh? When you had that
Oh, yeah.
realization.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah, like Nancy, you need to, like, when things get harder, like for me, it was, I think the biggest, if I think about the biggest shift, it was probably like not making anything mean anything about me. Like, I had huge rejection wounds I had to like overcome, like huge, huge, huge ones when I was little, like, yeah, to the point where like friends like threatened me and I was like getting thrown into lockers and there was just like all this stuff just because this like one guy liked me. It was just it was insane. And so like like looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh. But that create like it's like that created this like this huge rejection thing inside of me. And like I just avoided it. I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm not gonna reach out to this person, even though I think that they'll be a good fit for my program. Or I'm gonna try, but not like too hard, or not let people see me really sweat. And like shifting from that to like, no, you know what? Nothing nobody says means anything about my work. I have hundreds of client testimonials. I know the work that I do is powerful. And no matter what people experience of me, or no matter if people say yes or no or whatever, it doesn't mean anything about me. And I think that, like, a lot of times in business, what happens is that, like, even when you start making like good money, it's like, oh, I want to reach that like 10K month again. Oh, and it's suddenly it's like, if you didn't reach that, then it means that I'm less than. And you start chasing. And the biggest realization is like, if you can just be where you are all the time with like going towards your desires and everything that you love with all of your heart, but having no attachment to it, and having this like, oh my God, how can I get creative with life? How can I just have so much fun, but with like an action plan forward and getting creative? I think also before I'd be like doing the exact same things over and over again and expecting different results. It's like, no, girl, you got to get like creative. Your messaging maybe has to land in different ways. You have to like, position this in different ways. And I actually started making it fun. It was like this puzzle piece that I like was like, oh, cool. How can I like shift this and like make this sound in a different way? And like I started having so much fun with it. And it was so good. And like, yeah, the thing that really started to bring in success.
Oh my gosh, I love that because so oftentimes we get wrapped up in the hustle and bustle and we're like, oh my God, we got to make it happen. And then we're like, all of a sudden, like almost like choking it to death. And when you like loosen your fucking grip and like, you're like, okay, wait a second. This obviously, like, I'm not kind of like hitting them all over and over and over. Well, like, what's a like fun, creative way that I can like look at this and like try this different thing over here and maybe like experiment over here? When you look at it with that like playful, creative energy, all of a sudden you become more solution oriented. All of a sudden you speak
Totally.
differently, your energy is different, like people are attracted to you because that energy of play, creativity, and like joy and bliss and that childlike wonder is just like magnetic as fuck because it's different. Like the truth
Mm.
hits differently than like the stressed out hustle, right?
Yeah, because you're just like trying to convince someone, you're trying to prove yourself, you're trying to like beat it to death and be like, okay, just get it. Instead of being like, oh, how can I just breathe and have fun and be like, if this was my best friend that I was talking to and we were just having a conversation, like, how would I explain my work? If this was just there was no weight on any of this, it was just me and my truth and my expression. How can I play with this in different lenses and like figure out ways that this can like land? And how would I like, usually for me, the ways that we love to buy or that we love to hear things are the ways that we or that our clients are attracted to us. So it's like always going back to like, how do I loved, or like what are the kind of things that I love to read on Instagram, or what are the things that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, right? And then when you're creating from that energy, you're like, your whole thing is just art. It's just like the creative process of like, yeah, just creation, and it just becomes fun. You're just like, this is just me. This, like, I tell Jared all the time, that's my partner, like this is just like my diary. Like I'm so blessed to have this like this diary here that has like so much of like who I've become in the last couple years on paper, like seeing my storyline, seeing the different ways and the different programs that I've created and the evolution of them. It's so cool.
Oh, I love that so much. That's so fun. How do you see that like manifesting in your son, this creative, playful energy? Because I would imagine you see that in him. Like when you're in that playful, creative energy, he probably vibes off that too. Do you notice that?
It's totally him infecting me. Like he just
Oh,
like
I love
I feel like that's my key. Just have a baby and,
that.
and just like play with them for a good hour a day. And then you'll drop out of your head and into your imagination and creativity. Cause literally like I don't gotta try. I just gotta say one reminder to myself, like, okay, Nancy, our playtime, you are not directing, you are not like teaching, you are in imaginative play with your son. And we go on like deep sea dive adventures. Like we're in safari hunts. Like it's insane. It's so fun. And he brings me this like childlike play and adventure that I think like trickles out because when I remember to, because I'm human, I get stuck in my head. I'm like, oh my God, this isn't landing. And I need to like make this land with people and getting into this like grasping energy. But like I quickly remind myself, like, no, like just go play with Xavier for a little bit, get into your creativity. And yeah, because I truly believe like, yeah, I'm very intentional in motherhood. That's like a big part of my life. My son is with me half of the time. And like he is my everything. Like I believe that kids should, they grow up way too fast. We make time for play. We make time to just be like, I don't overschedule him. I'm very intentional. Like he goes to a Waldorf school. I'm very intentional with, just what he's around and exposed to. And I feel like that intentionality like trickles into my business and pretty much everything that I do. But it's like I value what is going to become over like the now of like,
Mm.
oh, this isn't, because sometimes you don't want to do things or you don't want to like, yeah, like sometimes I don't want to play dinosaurs, but like I want him to feel seen, loved, and heard. So I'm going to get down, play dinosaurs with
Right. Like,
him.
what is more important that your son feels seen, love, and heard, or like the fact that you're not like super jazzed to play dinosaurs at this moment?
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
all of a sudden, that little perspective and like that little, like, what is my why? Like, why would I want to interact with him? Oh yeah, I want him to feel this way. I want him to experience this way. I want myself to be able to also experience him in this way because this is how I get to connect with him in this intentional moment here and now. Um,
Totally,
oh,
totally.
that is so beautiful. So beautiful. So, what are you like really excited that you're creating right now? What's something new that you are creating? I think that you've got like some exciting things, if I'm remembering correctly, right?
Yes, yeah. So I'm so excited because I've opened. So I kind of put my one-on-one coaching on hold. Just through last year was like a huge portal with my mom passing, and I just wanted way more spaciousness. So I'm relaunching that, which is so exciting. So
Oh.
yeah, like I have a limited number of spaces. There's two options. There's like a VIP version where there's like just calls with me each month. A lot of somatic training, business and messaging and branding, mentorship, and just there's there's an amazing mixture between the energetics. We actually start with the energetics, actually. So we start with the energetics, the identity, the belief system, really getting yourself into the vibrancy of who you are wanting to become for this year. And then the second part is really the strategy. Like, how do we actually implement these things like in practical forms, your messaging, your content, your brand? And it's really this like evolution of your personal brand. So that is something that I'm so excited. And then I'm actually hosting. This is an idea I'm playing with, and we haven't announced anything yet, but really playing with like a VIP luxurious Bufo retreat. So it's going to be a group immersion, but each human gets like one-to-one work and a group and a specialized journey just for them. and then integration work and all the jazz. It's going to be so beautiful. We're going to be planning one in Vancouver and in Mexico. So we're just in the midst of planning that. Haven't launched anything yet, but that's going to be really excited. I'm really excited for that. And yeah, and then I just always have my membership going. Membership is just like an easy way to just like plug into my world. I think I was talking with Kelsey about this because I was like, oh my gosh, like it's like the gym, but for your like, but for your mind, your business, your energy, and like body work. So it's like everything that you desire in one space. So I feel like sometimes I'd have to go to like all these different spaces. Like, okay, so I have, like my membership with my strategic coach here, and then I have my membership with my energetics coach, and then I have my gym membership, which I go move my body. So this is like an all in one place where you can come. We're going to be doing like ecstatic dance, movement, um, coaching, and just like, yeah. So there's like transmissions that are dropped every week, every single month. We focus on a different modality, and it's going to be so fun. So,
Yay! Oh my gosh,
yes,
so many fun things and so many like
yes.
expansive like new adventures coming.
Yes, yes. I'm so, 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 so excited.
I'm excited to like continue to watch and like see how your retreats blossom and bloom and grow. Like those are gonna be
Yes.
so fucking incredible. Yay!
So excited. Oh, Kelsey, thank you so much for having me on here. It's just such a blessing to be in your space and witness you and just like, yeah, like get to know you a bit, little bit. We're actually, you know what? We're gonna have you on my podcast because I'm like, okay, I love your energy, I love who you are, and just it's such a blessing to be on here.
Oh, I would love that. That would be so much fun. And thank you so much for being on the Magic is in You podcast. I appreciate you so much, Nancy. Is there any like last little bit of like wisdom, knowledge, inspiration that you want to share with anybody that or like with everybody as we close out today?
you know, no, I just wanna, yeah, I think that like I feel complete. I feel like this was such a good session, and like I love sharing about my story and my experiences. And if anyone, I guess, wants to connect further, wants to follow along my journey, you can follow the show notes here and get access to my Instagram. That's the only real platform that I'm really on at the moment. And yeah, I think that's it. That's it. Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Yes, like Nancy mentioned, we'll have her handle and link for Instagram in the show notes. And thank you again so much for sharing your light, your magic, your love with us today and sharing your story, the ups and downs, the duality. And I just appreciate you so much, Nancy. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
just, yeah. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day in love, light, and gratitude. Peace.